Welcome to Your Thoughts, Your Reality with Michael Cole, the podcast that shines a compassionate light on the journey of veterans battling through life's challenges. Michael is a dual elite certified neuroencoding specialist in coaching and keynote training presentations, dedicated to guiding military veterans as they navigate the intricate pathways of post-deployment life. Join him as we delve into the profound realm of neuroencoding science, empowering these brave individuals to conquer universal battles, procrastination, self-doubt, fear, and more. Together, let's uncover the strength within you to re-engage with families and society, forging a new path forward.
Hello, everybody. So we have my good friend Michael Pope on today. Michael is an international Maxwell leadership certified speaker, trainer, and coach. He's a trusted expert in leadership and personal development. He's the CEO of Michael Pope Training. He's known as the Coach's Tech Guide. Wow, I feel like this is getting longer, man. He's passionate about productivity and performance, and he's a dynamic and engaging communicator and speaker. Michael Pope, I say this every time, but we wouldn't be on this podcast, top 10% in the world, if it wasn't for you helping me get this set up. So thank you, my friend.
You're quite welcome, Michael. Happy to be here again. I think this is my third time on your show, and I love the success you're having with the show. I mean, it's been absolutely amazing. And I like I said, I remember the very beginnings, right? I was getting set up and the questions and
Yes.
great journey.
Michael Pope is one of the most patient people with tech, and we had so much fun. I gotta say, I have to say that it was a blast.
Yes.
So, with that said, Michael, why don't you tell people just a little bit more about yourself for people that aren't familiar with you yet?
Absolutely. Well, greetings, everyone. I am Michael Pope, international speaker, coach, and trainer, and I help high achievers stop hesitating and take bold action. And so, a little bit about me. Married for almost 28 years. So it'll be 28 years, May 17th. I've been married to my wife. We have 3 sons, an 18-year-old, a 16-year-old, and a 12-year-old, all boys. And they're all black belts in karate. So great kids.
So don't go start crap at Michael Pope's house. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we got our in-house bodyguards here, right?
There you go. Absolutely love it. So before we really dive in and get started, first of all, Michael, you know what's so funny is when you're on, it's like we're just doing our training sessions or whatever. We're just talking and having way too much fun. So before we get started, I just want to remind everybody on the top right corner of the screen is a blue QR code. Takes you to empowerperformancestrategies.com. Empowerperformancestrategies.com again for people listening. On the podcast forums later on. Michael, it's been like 110 episodes. I finally figured out which way it is to point. So there are lots of resources and Facebook pages for veterans and their families, as well as some free books that I've written. So be part of a community, join the tribe, and get involved with the mission. So with that said, Mr. Pope, we are talking about some good stuff today. So winning the day, which I think is really super important. And before we really dive in, people that, again, don't know you well, how did you get involved in the self-development and in this world?
Yeah, so for me, growing up, I had a horrible self-image, absolutely horrible self-image. Hey, Susan, I was good to have you on and see you. I had a horrible self-image. I'm a natural introvert. I was terrified of public speaking. And I remember, Michael, being asked by managers, previous managers, if I wanted to consider being a manager or a people leader one day. And I wanted nothing to do with it because of my self-image. I never saw myself as a leader. But I was introduced to a gentleman named Percy, who absolutely amazing man. He introduced me to the world of personal development. And once I read my first book, which was The Magic of Thinking Big, which is probably somewhere around my desk somewhere. But The Magic of Thinking Big, once I read that book and I realized that there's so much more to me, right? There's so much more that I can do, so much more of an impact that I can make. I dove right into personal development, and it really elevated me personally and just started to open up doors for me.
Yeah. And amen, because honestly, you look back, and I've known you for a few years now, and I just look back and I know how many people you have affected, changed, and helped, and so on. and the ripple effect or the tsunami effect, if you will, that you've created because of that man, right? That started that and changed your life, or helped you to for you to choose to change your life. It's amazing. I love to hear those stories. So thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
With that said, so we're going to talk about winning the day, which I think you'll agree is going to be mostly mindset. So,
Yes.
so let's talk about this because I know you're passionate about it. What does winning the day mean for you?
Yeah, and I think it means something different for everybody.
Right.
But so for me, what it means for me personally is that when my head hits the pillow at night, that I can look back on the current day with a good feeling, right? Where I'm not feeling like a feeling of regret. It's not a feeling of regret, or man, I shouldn't have done that, or man, I wish I had done that, or man, if I just had the confidence to make that phone call or to take that action. I don't want to have those feelings because I grew up having those feelings over and over. Those missed opportunities are like, man, I should have done that. And seeing someone else get an opportunity, I'm like, man, I thought of that idea, or man, I know I could have done that too, right? I could have been where they are right now. Right. I don't want that feeling. And so for me, it's like I said, it's being able to lay my head on the pillow, knowing, okay, the things that I wanted to accomplish that day, I did it.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Everything, right? Maybe there's certain things that I could have done, but the things that were very important to me, knowing, okay, I did those, and I can feel good about myself, right? If this happened to be my last day, knowing that I still felt good about what I accomplished.
I love that. I love that, because how many times do we say, oh, I should have, but and we all do it as human beings, right? We as neurocoders, of course, we condition ourselves differently, but it's but I'm too old, or but I'm not smart enough, or and then it goes to the shoulds, right? I should have done this, or I should have done that. And then I'm always going to say this, and my good friend Tina Parker and I came up with it, and it's, don't be the butt that shoulds all over yourself.
Oh, I love that. Don't be the butt that shoulds all over yourself. Yes, yes.
Yeah. So what are some steps that you take, or that you want to share with us, as far as to get into the right mindset to make sure that you're winning that day, depending on what that means for you, obviously.
Absolutely, absolutely. Right. So something that helps, and John Maxwell says, is like your what he said, your success is based on your daily routine. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that can really help, and it helps me, is thinking about the tomorrow, right? So before I end my day, is thinking about, okay, so what do I want tomorrow to look like?
Right.
And if I could only accomplish one thing tomorrow, what would I need to accomplish in order for me to be able to end tomorrow knowing that, okay, I won today? Mm-hmm. And I think if you do that, right, it doesn't have to be a whole lot of things, but just find those 1 or 2 or 3 things that are very important to you, that's in alignment with your goals, that you can accomplish for tomorrow, and make plans for it. Yeah. So that's the first thing, is really identifying, okay, what those 1 to 3 items are that you need to accomplish. The second thing would simply be to figure out, okay, is there anything that I can do right now to make it easier for me to do that? Right. So let's say that one of those things was to make 5 phone calls, or to submit 5 proposals. Then if it's 5 phone calls, then maybe I can go ahead and identify the phone numbers right now, right? Put them in a spreadsheet or highlight them, have them ready to make it easy. So that way I'm not trying to find the numbers. No, I've already got the numbers. I can just set the time and make the phone calls. If it's fitting content or something, right, I can have a plan in place already, make it easy for myself, so that way I can wake up and go, okay, yeah, here's what I need to do. Boom, I can do it.
Yeah, I love that. I'm going to add to that if I can. Schedule it.
Yes, absolutely.
Every day. Schedule it. I mean, if you look on my calendar, you'll see things scheduled, because otherwise you get busy, or you just think, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, and tomorrow never comes, right? It goes back to the Rocky movie with Apollo Creed and Rocky, right? There is no tomorrow, Rock. There is no tomorrow.
Yes.
Yes. I love that movie, or that part especially, but I do love the movie. And it's weird how people will just say tomorrow, and then all of a sudden it's been 10 years.
Exactly.
And then you're shitting all over yourself again.
Yep.
So
You're making all type of excuses, and excuse-itis is a failure disease, and
really
it holds us back.
It really is. So what are some how do I want to say this? So a lot of veterans specifically struggle with finding purpose post-service. So what are some practical ways, especially for success, to redefine success and get people on the right track so they can win that day?
Yeah, so I believe, whenever I meet a veteran, I always thank them for their service. And I know some don't like hearing that, but until I figure out something better to say, that's what I say. Because I truly appreciate that they're willing to risk their lives to protect our country, our freedoms that we have. And so I'm very thankful, very appreciative of those. And so what I would say to that veteran is, okay, when you were in the military, you had a purpose there, right? Your purpose was serve and protect and all type of things you're doing. But then you're trying to find a purpose outside of that. Just try to figure out, okay, if I wasn't getting paid for it, what would I be able to do to make an impact where I could feel really good about myself, right? Well, like, what's that one thing that you could do to truly feel like you're adding value, creating an impact, even if you're not getting paid for it?
Yeah.
And I think that'll help you find your purpose. For some, it could be joining like the police force. It could be becoming a teacher, right? So, but I think if they try to start figuring, okay, if money wasn't involved, what would I do? It's going to help me feel fulfilled. And then once you do that, go ahead, Michael.
No, please.
Yeah, I said, and then once you have that, I mean, you can look and say, okay, now how can I monetize this? Because in most cases, that service is monetizable.
Yeah. And I'm literally sitting here laughing, and that's why I literally had this exact conversation with somebody yesterday. What do you love to do? In today's world, to find fulfillment or purpose, there's so many possibilities in today's world, and whether it be photography or wood carving, I mean, being a police officer, like I said, fantastic, or any of those, amazing jobs, careers, I should say. But there are so many things that you can find. I love to talk. I love to help people. Here we are, right? I mean, there are so many different ways. So I was literally it was actually with someone with the ACP about doing some trainings and so on that
and what is ACP?
American Corporate Partners. Michael Pope got me involved in ACP. So thank you so much. And honestly, I'm mentoring a veteran with business now, and they're bringing me in to do some other trainings and some one-offs with some people that are kind of stuck on figuring out exactly this. So I was talking to Jenny and literally had this exact conversation. What you're saying is exactly what I said.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
No, thank you, and thank you again for the people you surround yourself with. It's weird.
Yes,
the more you surround yourself with people that are like-minded, like-hearted, things magnetize to you, and you keep moving. So I love it. So another reason I love Michael Pope. Just saying. So let's go with as far as winning the day. So we talked about scheduling something. We've talked about putting together those 3 things, those 5 things to do the next day, and of course taking action. And a lot of times I just want to add to that as well, is taking action can be as simple. What I do is I'll just text somebody saying, hey, can we talk tomorrow? And the action is started. And then it starts to unfold from there. So it can be simple. So give us a couple of other things that you do to prepare to win the day, if you will, or steps or something. Yeah, please.
Absolutely. And so just going back to what you said, Michael, about sending that text or taking that small action is, as we know when we're in coding, is we remember to reward ourselves, right? So celebrate the fact that, hey, I took action. Yes, I did it.
Yes.
Right. And so that's just so important of doing those things. And so for me, you've heard me talk before about doer, but so I always go back to my doer pretty much when I'm doing anything. And so for those of you, if you've never heard doer, the D in doer stands for discipline. And discipline is doing the prescribed activity no matter what, even and especially when it's difficult. And one of the things you got to understand, right? So once you have your task list of the items you want to do for the day to win it, is most cases it takes discipline. So Michael just talked about how he sets a schedule, how he might send a text message to someone, right? He takes immediate action or takes some type of action that requires discipline. So that's the first thing, right? Well, so once you identify your items, okay, what discipline do I need to take to do it? And a lot of times it's just taking that first step. I see so many people get stuck on thinking about step 25, or like, how am I going to get the video submitted to YouTube? Like, you haven't even recorded the video yet, right? So at least record the video first, then we can worry about the other stuff.
I love that.
But it's like, do one step at a time.
Yeah.
Don't get hung up on the details, but so that takes discipline.
Yeah.
And then O endure. O changes depending on the circumstance. When it comes to winning the day, for me, it means one thing. What is that one thing that I can work on that's going to make the most impact, that's going to move me closer to my goal for winning that day? And you got to figure out what that one thing is. And then, of course, take the discipline to do it. E, endure, is for eliminating excuses. And I've already talked before how, excuse-itis is a failure disease. I learned that from the book, The Magic of Thinking Big. But it's just eliminating those excuses, right? And whatever words you use that are similar to an excuse. Like, some people say, well, I didn't make an excuse, but you're using but, right? Or you're using all types of although, right? All those type of words, Joseph tells us, hey, don't use but. Because it's just an excuse. Because typically if someone says, I would do this, but, right, they're about to tell you an excuse.
Yeah.
So do your best to eliminate them. No one's perfect. I'm not perfect, but I do and I just said, but, right? Yep. So I'm not perfect, and I do my best to eliminate those excuses. All right. And I remember to praise myself on that journey. And then R, when it comes to winning the day, for me, it's all about responsibility. I have to own the responsibility for my choices. I own the responsibility for my actions.
Yeah.
So whether I do something or don't do it is based on me owning the responsibility, taking personal responsibility for the actions that I take.
Yeah. And it is a choice, right? Everything you just talked about, every single step of that for winning the day with the doer program and our mentality. I love that, by the way. We talked about it multiple times. It really sets the tone, right?
Yes.
It's your choice to do it or don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you choose for that day? Do you want to win it? Do you want to go, I should have, but that's the question, right? Is that itself. So for veterans or their families. So let's dive in a little bit into, okay, I have something I want for purpose or whatever the case may be. And I need to win this day. I need to win tomorrow. I need to win this week, so you're looking at a bigger plan, if you will. Okay.
Yes.
So you've been through the steps here. I have something scheduled. I took immediate action. I've done the things that we're talking about right now. How do we create a bigger plan for winning, not just the day?
Yeah. And so the thing is when you develop the habit of winning the day, you end up winning the week. Winning the week leads you to winning the month and then winning the year. And so when you're looking at the big plan, you got to figure out, okay, what do I want? Right. So at the end of 2025, what do I want that to look like?
Right.
And Joseph calls that future pacing, where you're imagining, or you get a clear picture of, okay, what do I want to accomplish? What do I want things to look like? And whenever I'm doing something like that exercise, I try to utilize all my senses. Mm-hmm. So when I want to hear other people telling me, hey, Michael, you did an amazing job with that, right? You're hearing those type of words. Is what do you see, right? Do you see, is it an award? Is it a monetary amount, right? Amount of money in the bank account? Is it a check coming into you? An email coming through saying, hey, you've been selected for this, right? Start visualizing what that looks like, and that'll start helping you to put together that plan.
Yeah, and I love that. And celebrating all along the way, of course, because it's not just it's part of the Voyager journey, right? It's not just, oh, hey, I just got selected for this, because how long does that last? How long does it last for that, whatever success means to you? I've got this car.
Yeah. You think about like an Olympic athlete, right? If they waited until the day they can actually compete in the Olympics to celebrate, man, they've lost so much opportunity, years of training hard, they've lost that.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that said, I'm assuming just like everything else, it's not, and I know this is what I teach people and I do myself, is I look at the big picture and work backwards for my goals.
Yes.
So can we talk about how to do that more specifically? So you know what you want. I found what's going to fulfill me. What is my purpose? Now, how do we work backwards over, let's say it's a 1-year program or 1-year plan, I guess I should say.
Yeah. So let's say it's a money amount, right? So let's say it was let's just say for easy math, let's say it's your goal is to make $120,000 doing XYZ, right? Then an easy way of working backwards is, okay, then you divide it out and say, well, I'm making $10,000 a month. $10,000 a month times 12 months equals 120,000. That's if you start, of course, month one at that amount. You may not. Most people don't go from $0 to $10,000. So then you got to figure out, okay, maybe I'm not able to do it month by month, divide it out in 12. So then I can set milestones. So maybe I want to have it the first quarter. Maybe I need to be making, $3,000 per month consistently for 3 months, depending on where you are, right? So start where you are.
Absolutely.
And then you just got to break it down. So however you can divide it, depending on the time you have, do your best to do the math on it to make it work.
Yeah, absolutely. And this goes with most things, right? Whether it be money or you're starting a new business, make a list of, figure out what you want, your purpose, your fulfillment, and then make a list of what you need to do to accomplish all those things, including things simple like business licenses and names and, calling Michael Pope to get your tech set up, things like that, or learn how to use your tech, I should say.
Yeah.
By the way, I need to talk to you. I'm just joking. So let's look at some tech stuff, if you will, because goodness knows you're amazing at it, right? So it's going to be very overwhelming for people. So give some tips and thoughts on when you're starting a business, a podcast, whatever it is, and you're starting to set up, and tech is part of pretty much everything in the world now. So give us some thoughts and ideas how to make it where it's not overwhelming, because tech changes so fast.
Yes.
And how to kind of get your mindset right so you can win the day with tech.
Yeah. So for me, what I tell people is it's possible, right? So unless you're trying to develop something extraordinary for the first time, in most cases, someone has already done it, right? It's a proven system. And I'm really big on systems. See, James Clear says, we don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems. And what I like to tell people is, let's try to identify the system. So let's say you see Michael's podcast, and you're like, man, he's had hundreds of thousands of downloads. How can I do that? And it may feel overwhelming to you. Well, he didn't start there, right? But he does have a system. So then let's see if we can figure out, okay, what that system is. Okay, so then you can look at, okay, what software is he using to record the podcast? Okay, well, yeah, can you use that same software? Yes, it's possible, right? What type of what camera, microphone? You can identify all those different details and make it really easy. But once you realize, okay, it is, it's possible. Let's figure out, okay, what do I need to do first? Obviously, I'm not going to get 100,000, or 500,000 downloads on day one. But what do I need to do to actually get the first download, right? I mean, I got to at least record the podcast so that you can go through those steps. But you have to be able to break it down into small, doable things, and then ask for help if you need it.
Yeah, and that's perfect. And that's literally what it's all about. That's how you stop overwhelm, right? Is chunk it down into small pieces, celebrate the hell, excuse my language, out of each one, thinking about it, just imagining it, and of course doing it. I mean, really, because the more you do that, the more your brain creates neural pathways to be excited about it and not overwhelmed by it, and so on. So love it.
Right. So like even with this podcast here, once you had your background all set up, I mean, didn't that make you feel good? Like, okay, I got the logo and everything set up. I mean, it's like, it's done. Once you get it, it's done. You don't have to think about what is my podcast going to look like. It's done.
Yeah, absolutely. And something just popped up in my head. I saw the very first one that I did with you and Sydney Gould, and the walls a different color.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say this, guys, as well. Don't just sit there and aim the gun and aim the gun and aim the gun. Don't procrastinate about it because of fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of success, and all the other things that we do. Pull the trigger. I mean, I would have still been going, what color am I going to paint the wall?
That's perfect. Yeah.
So just keep that in mind when you're doing that. So we're starting to get a little towards the end of the show. So anything else that actually I want to ask you.
Okay.
I can't help it. Self-discipline. Okay. I know this is what really runs the show, if you will.
Yes.
Right. So I really want to touch base on this, and it just popped into my head. What are some of the key ways to really put self-discipline into play? Because this is where everybody wins or fails, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
There are other things that come along, but if you don't have the self-discipline for consistency, it's not going to happen. So give us some thoughts on give us Michael Pope's success formula.
Yeah. So one of the things that when it comes to self-discipline, a lot of times the thing that stops most people from being disciplined is fear.
Yeah.
Right. It could be fear of the unknown, fear of failure, fear of not being perfect. Sometimes it's fear of success. Like some people are like, man, if I do this, then people start, if I launch my podcast and then people start calling me for speaking engagements, what am I going to speak about? Like I've heard people like go tell themselves some stories in their mind. I'm like, stop. Right? like we're not even there yet. When that day comes, we'll work it out. Right? When Oprah calls you to be on her show for an interview, right, we'll coach you on that. So sometimes you just gotta like slow down and focus on the things that you have control over. So we have two things that we have control over. We have control over our attitude, which is the way we think, how we react to things. We also have 100% control over our actions, meaning what we do. So it's completely a choice. It's up to us.
Absolutely. So did you hear something? Oprah's calling, or
just calling you, man, or someone better is calling.
I love it. So Michael Pope, how do people reach out to you, my friend?
Absolutely. Yes, everyone. I'm available on social media if I can talk, right? I am a speaker most of the time. But I'm available on social media, Michael J. Pope Jr. Also, my website is michaelpopetraining.com. And yeah, you can access me that way. Real easy. And I am Michael Pope, international speaker, coach, and trainer. And like I said before, I help high achievers stop hesitating and take bold action.
Here we are. Michael Pope is phenomenal. If you have the chance to work with him, I say this, he's a friend, he's a mentor, he's a coach. If you have the chance to work with this man, call him. Truly.
Thank you. I appreciate what you're doing for veterans too, Michael, and really for everybody in that situation. Primarily veterans.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I started this because my dad, right, to honor my dad. So because I didn't want other veterans and their families to go through what he did, and things are better, right? But here's the thing that I found out: this has filled my heart so much.
I can believe it.
I'm helping so many people, and it's just filled. You talk about fulfillment or purpose, right? And this is just one of them.
Yeah.
So it's fantastic. So thank you, my friend, for saying that. I do.
You're welcome. And there's a huge market out there, man. I'll tell you, it's because I've heard other veterans and people in. I was actually at a conference and I was talking to this nurse, and she was just talking about how she was feeling like suicidal thoughts before she was introduced to personal development and purpose. Right. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people that are just lacking that purpose to know that they matter. At the end of the day, everyone wants to know they matter.
Right.
So Michael, you matter, my friend. And Susan, you matter as well. So thank you for watching.
Thank you. And you do as well, my friend. Truly. It's an amazing thing. So with that said, do you have any, and I didn't ask you about this before, but do you have any webinars coming up or anything people can catch you?
I do not. Everything I'm doing is like in private areas. I know, right? I need to get something public going. But yeah, so I've got a lot of like private speaking engagements coming up. So I've been more focused on that than doing like the public webinars.
Yeah. So anybody, again,
you never know. Next month I may pop something up. I turn 51 next month, so something may show up.
Now you are. So reach out though if you can have Michael come and present to your audience, or again coaching and that kind of stuff. Please reach out to him. With that said, my friend, we need 3 tips to get veterans and their families further faster.
3 tips. Hey, Jonathan. 3 tips. So one, I would say focus on winning every single day. Right. So like I said before, ask yourself, okay, what do I need to accomplish today so that when my head hits the pillow, I know that I've won today. Right. You can literally say, okay, if this is my last day on earth, I know that I've won today. Second thing I would say is think about the legacy that you're creating. Right. So always think about, okay, what type of impact? I think about the people who created the biggest impact on me. And I always make sure that, okay, I want to be the type of example where I can create a legacy where people can look back and say, oh yeah, Michael did this and that really helped me out. Yeah. That's important. And then the last tip would be, hey, be a doer, right? Discipline yourself, focus on that one thing, eliminate excuses, and take personal responsibility for everything you do.
Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. I know your grandfather had a lot to do with that second tip.
Yes, absolutely.
I love that story. So with that said, Michael, again, thank you for being on the show. Time is the most precious resource we have as human beings. We do not get it back. Thank you for spending some of your life, some of your time with us. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right. With that said, everybody, we're out.
All right.
Thank you for joining us on another insightful journey of Your Thoughts, Your Reality podcast with your host, Michael Cole. We hope the conversation sparked some thoughts that resonate with you. To dive deeper into empowering your thoughts and enhancing your reality, visit empowerperformancestrategies.com. Remember, your thoughts shape your reality, so make them count. Until next time, stay inspired and keep creating the reality you desire. Catch you on the next episode.